Hello, everyone. This is Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from our living rooms because it's raining crazy here. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
So, what does the number 6 trillion mean to you?
Well, right now that's about 1/5 of our debt, right? Our national debt.
That's all the rain, the gallons of rain that's dropping on California right now. 6 trillion. I mean, we're getting swamped like 100-year storm. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was watching some of the mudslides down in Studio City, Orange County, up against the mountains. I mean, it's inundating. I feel for those people.
Yeah, I feel for them too. I've seen houses washed away from mudslides. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so what does $1/3 billion mean to you, Scott? $1/3 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Especially a lot of money
when it's just thrown away.
According to a report by the Economic Policy Innovation Center, EPIC, that's how much Washington State spent on illegal immigrants using COVID funds from the CARES Act. Your taxpayer money. That's an epic fail on the state's part. That money could have been used for veterans or dependents of first responders who died in the line of duty, or even new equipment and vehicles for police and fire.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right, but we all know that what's happening in the state of Washington and some of their larger cities. It's a sad deal.
Illegal immigrants were ineligible to receive federal economic impact payments during the pandemic due to their immigration status. So what did the Dems do? They play a shell game with moving monies around and finding a workaround to give it to the illegals. Does it sound like 17 LLCs to hide money? Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that there's no accountability once this money goes away. When I say goes away, it goes out of the hands of the people that give it. They don't have any kind of oversight or accountability to it. It just goes.
Yeah, this didn't even make it to the Festivus report because nobody knew about it until they started digging deeper. What are the states doing with this money?
Right.
So here's what the CARES Act reads. The CARES Act, this is right from their website, requires that the payments from the Coronavirus Relief Fund only be used to cover expenses that, one, are necessary expenditures incurred due to the public health emergency and respect to the coronavirus disease. Two, were not accounted for in the budget most recently approved as of March 27th. That's when the CARES Act was passed for the state government. And three, were incurred during the period that begins on March 1st, 2020, ends on December 31st, 2022. All three of those things have to happen, right? Direct quote from the website.
That all sounds good, right? On paper or saying it, making these rules, but we know that depending on who's running the show, rules are not always followed. Rules for me are rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Rules for thee, not for me. Exactly. Right. They find workarounds. It's disgusting. It's really pissed me off preparing this our show for you today. It really made me upset. If you can't get federal funds, go get it from the sanctuary state, right? Am I right?
Oh yeah, it's one of those things where if somebody walked up to you and name a figure, you'd be hot about it. You'd report it as a robbery or a burglary or whatever. But this kind of stuff is happening, and it happens right under our noses, and nobody really seems to know anything about it. But when all this is going to be due and payable, that's when people are going to start noticing it. My grandkids are going to notice it, and they're going to say, "What were you doing during your generation to allow this kind of stuff to happen?"
When we eventually go bankrupt. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how Washington did it. They doled out $1,000 checks to illegals, to each illegal person, Washingtonian illegals, and Washington received a total of $4.4 billion from the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, CSLFR, created by the American Rescue Plan Act. The $340 million in funding was approved by the Washington State Legislature. The legislature was in on giving this to illegals. Like I said, it's like these shell companies that that Hunter Biden was creating to hide the money.
Hide money, yeah, right. Again, hiding it. You used a good expression earlier about just being flat pissed off about it, because this is serious money. I mean, when I was growing up, younger, millions of dollars. People didn't fathom millions of dollars, but now we're talking billions and trillions when we talk about the debt. It's just out of control. It's not
just Congress trying to bankrupt the nation. It's blue states using workarounds or outright abuse to bankrupt the nation. That legislature passed a law that provided another round of funding for undocumented Washingtonians. Another round? What? So they gave it out in 2020. They gave out grant checks for those ineligible for the government assistance programs. 128 million, 120,000 Washingtonian illegal immigrants got $1,000 check. That's combine those two, 128 and 340. That's almost 500,000 illegal immigrants, right? If you don't get caught, go large, right?
Oh yeah, why not?
They got theirs. So illegals, you think these illegals got Obama phones? You think so?
Oh, more than likely. I
think they're calling home saying, "Hey, they're giving out $1,000 checks to Washington. Come on over."
Yeah, come on up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what does this mean? You say the Biden-Harris idiocracy directly subsidized undocumented immigration under the guise of COVID-19 pandemic relief. Vote them out.
All of them. Yeah, get rid of them. And again, this is money that is not being spent the way it was supposed to be. And where's the oversight? Where's the accountability? I say that.
So this EPIC organization, EPIC also highlights several other pet projects related to illegal immigration for which federal funds were used, including programs in Arizona for art, music, and dance, and classes for illegal immigrants, and expansion of shelters in Massachusetts. So I can see shelters in Massachusetts. I mean, from a humanitarian standpoint, that helps, but art, music, dance, come on.
Well, like you were saying at the beginning, why all this money that they're using could be spent for veterans or families of veterans,
or equipment for police and fire.
Exactly, first responder equipment, first responders that have lost their life in the line of duty. Their families. I don't know. It could be definitely spent in better ways. If they didn't use it for the COVID, then send it back and let them use it for something else.
Great. And there's unspent money, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. The idiocracy has been actively encouraging illegal immigration by using COVID money to provide cash assistance, housing, legal aid, and other benefits to illegal aliens. So guess what? There's still 120 billion left in unspent federal COVID money. Do you remember, Scott, that video from the independent journalists? There were two brothers who documented their trip from like Central America or South America. I think it was Guatemala. And they walked the whole trail up and got on trains and stuff. And they documented it, right? And they got shook down by cartels, and had their cameras smashed, and they had to go back and reshoot, the trip, parts of the trip. And remember they showed migrants chanting, "Biden, Biden, Biden." Remember that? That was from people calling back and saying, "We got some freebies." Congress needs to claw back this money and at least pay down the debt, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And like you said, give them the boot. On election day,
Vote them out.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Yep.
All right, folks, this is all the time we have. We appreciate you checking out this episode. It's really upset us to bring you this information, this factual information. We hope that if you liked it, click subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your enemies to come and watch this show. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you later.
Have a good day. Thank you.